Hi, welcome to Blacticulate, a podcast series featuring UK young black professionals, where we find out how they do what they do, so you can too. Or not. After all, it is your life. What up?
How's it going, man?
Yeah, so for people who don't know who you are, like to my listeners, hey, tell me about you. Describe yourself, G.
I'm Tommy. By day I'm a creative copywriter for advertising agency, and
Like,
every other time, by night every other time, I'm constantly tech. I like to call myself a technology evangelist. I read all about tech and talk about tech, live, breathe tech
so
and gadgets.
what is tech then? To those who don't know what tech is.
Technology, so like your smartphones. I mainly look into the consumer tech, so like your TVs, all the way to home appliances, to smartphones, uh, emerging technology, Internet of Things. Yeah, it just spans a wide range of things that you can look at technology wise. But I don't go into IT technology, so like your networking infrastructure and all that stuff. I don't go into that side of business IT, if you like. I don't go to that side of things.
Okay, so that's quite important. You've given quite two different
Yeah.
paths. So how'd you get into it?
So I came up on a background where it was all IT basically. So I did computer science at uni, um, and since then I've just had a massive interest in technology in general. So like I used to buy. So for example, my website, I used to buy a lot of gadgets for myself to play to play with and take apart or do stuff with. And people used to always say, "Oh, what you got now? What have you got now?" So I'm just like, "Oh, I've got this new phone. I've got that new phone. Oh, you've got that new phone? Yeah, 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 yeah." So like, why don't you set up a website where you talk about these things and And then there's YouTube. Like, why don't you just go on YouTube, talk about these things and stuff like that? I was like, yeah, that's a good idea actually. So I started doing all that stuff on the side. So here we are.
And that's then developed into a profession.
Yeah, I'd like to see it that way. Yeah, because I cover some events now, for example, that's classed as people that turn up should be official journalists, people who actually are accredited, National Union of Journalist people. But I'm not full on union journalist or anything. I'm just a blogger who likes to do write and talk about tech. So it's great to be amongst those people from a different path entirely. Yeah,
That's quite fascinating. So
yeah,
it took others to say to you that this is potentially a route you can take
yeah, yeah.
because you liked
Yeah, yeah,
gadgets.
yeah, yeah. Because I didn't see it as something that I can not can maybe something that I want to put out there. I just did it for the fun of it, for my own entertainment, my own enjoyment. But when people were like, actually, you can write about it online and do videos on it and get other people to see your take on things, and I was just like, yeah, that's a good idea actually.
Would you
Yeah.
recommend that to people
I
who are?
recommend that now to anyone, not just in tech, just in various. So I got a friend who's into fitness stuff, and I always tell him, why don't you start a YouTube channel where you tell people how to get bigger muscles? Summer's coming up, for example. I've got a friend who's a programmer, a designer as well, and why don't you set up a YouTube channel teaching people how to design basic things on Photoshop and stuff like that? Or I'd see someone who's got nice fashion sense. I'd be like, oh, why don't you set up a fashion blog where you talk about stuff you're wearing every day, or even every week? It doesn't have to be every day. People, not everyone's got the patience to do it every day. So
But okay, so I see that, and
yeah,
that's good,
yeah,
right? Because basically you put out your opinion out there.
yes,
But can there be a bit where you're delusional in terms of where you think your opinion
yeah,
is not right or correct? But say, for instance, you've got a lot of fashion bloggers,
right,
but fashion is very subjective, isn't it? But then there is an entire industry that says it's not subjective
right.
because of materials, constructions, and the knowledge
Yeah,
base.
it depends. It depends where you're looking at it from. I think it's probably easy if I talk about it from the point of view of tech.
Please.
So if I review a phone, there will be some factual stuff that you can't get wrong in terms of things like your battery life. If a battery life is poor on a phone, it's poor. No one's going to tell you you're wrong because that's just what happened while you're using that phone. There'll be other opinionated stuff like, oh, the camera's not as good as, this phone camera is not as good as this phone's camera. But that's entirely my opinion. People don't have to take that. They can take it if they want. But again, you grow your following based on people liking what you think about gadgets and technology or not, kind of thing. So if the people that follow me online, for example, they respect my opinion on those things, and then it's my responsibility to make sure those opinions are not just for the sake of, oh, I don't like Apple, for example, and say, oh, I don't like Apple, therefore, yeah, the camera's automatically rubbish. You can't be like that. It has to be fair. Yeah, it has to be fair when you review things or talk about them. So even though they're your opinion, they're based on facts. They're based on real life situation of things that happened. So you never read a review of mine that talks about a phone in the light of, oh, it's not as good as that one. Why? You need to show some stats or something behind it to say this is why it's not as good as that, or the battery life is not as good on this phone as that one because it's got so and so 1,000 million power battery and it only lasts me a day, whereas that one lasts me 2 days. Then it's clear. I'm sure everyone who reads that will be able to agree and be like, yeah, definitely that's better than that one.
Now, here's a question that I find really interesting. I don't think I know anyone in your space, a black person particularly, talking about tech and gadgets. Are you, one of the few, or are there many like you?
You'd be surprised actually. Like, I think in the UK there's less people that do it, but in the States there's actually one guy he's one of the he's the biggest on YouTube in the tech space, and he's a black guy. So he started though from when he was, I think, like 13, if not younger than that, when he picked up his camera and did stuff on YouTube. And now he's got, like, if he puts a video up today, by say 2 days time he would have 500,000 views, if not less than 2 days. And it's in the UK is there's less black people doing what I do.
Why is that?
Probably just because people didn't think it's something that they would be respected for. I don't know, maybe so for example, if you do YouTube videos, so that guy I'm talking about is on YouTube rather than blogger space. He's still classed as a blogger, but not a website, not a written blog, if you know what I mean. So I think for the UK audience, I think we battle racism, for example, in the sense that if you put a video up and you're a black person, people might look at it a certain way. They might feel like, oh, I've had comments that goes, wow, I didn't think that person was black until I saw their face, because when I speak, I'm not speaking with any sort of like twang or slang or anything. I'm just speaking. So when they hear it, they automatically assume it's a white guy behind the camera. But when you do point the camera to yourself, then they're like, oh, it's actually a black person. So you do get comments every now and then that would actually go into detail of using N-word and everything in the comment line, and you'd have to remove those comments because you don't want other people seeing that sort of stuff on your page. But you don't respond to it either, because it just encourages them to go further with their comments. But you don't let that phase you either, because again, it's a niche, if you want to put it that way. Like, black people doing that, it's a niche in a way. But I mean, I go to tech events, and there aren't that many black people at tech events when I go to events either. There's only a few of us there, so especially from the UK anyway.
But there is no challenge that doing what you do. There's no challenge being black and doing what it is you do.
Not necessarily. I've been faced with that challenge of, because I'm black, therefore I can't do this, or I can't be in this place, or I can't do that sort of stuff. But that would be interesting to know if that affects people in this field, or people who does.
Have you? Can you describe or tell me a time where you've been acutely aware of your race? Just in life generally.
I would say when that's easy in terms of if you go to an environment where it's just full of white people there, you automatically are aware of the fact that you're black in that environment. Or it could be simple things as, oh, let's do a video of you doing this, and then when they start tweaking the lighting because you're black, just to make sure that you show up properly on the camera and stuff, you're aware of it automatically. You know that's why. You're thinking, you can't help it. There's nothing you can do about that. You just have to either not think about it or laugh it off, or crack a joke about it or something, and that you break that ice. Because it works both ways. It's not easy for that white guy behind the lighting who's trying to tweak it without, trying hard not to offend you at the same time. So you have to kind of cracking and breaking the ice makes it easy for him as well to be like, yeah, okay, we'll do this properly, and he'll relax. But if you don't do that, you can tell that they're on their toes. Like, I don't want to offend this person. Yeah, let's crank up the lighting, things like that. Yeah, that's when you become aware of it. But yeah, it is what it is.
Hey guys, before we return to the episode, I wanted to take this moment to thank you for listening. To continue to support Blacticulate, please get in touch with us on www.blacticulate.com, and you can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. Now let's get back to the episode. Your journey so far, you're moving in the right direction. You're becoming very successful. You're becoming very known. But you've had help.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell
I think help comes in all different aspects. I think like setting up the website. I had a friend who helped me with the server setup. Initially contributing to the website, so it's not just myself contributing. Going to events. My girlfriend back then would, when she's free, she'd come along just to carry things. A friend will come along as well to help me set up videos. Contacting people will put you in touch with someone who can help you out in terms of getting a device. They're the sort of helps that I've received along the way. So,
and in return, have you helped people?
Oh yeah, like I know how hard it is to start out, especially now, to try and get in that space of, I want to become a YouTube tech blogger, or I want to set up my own website. Like people will ask me now for general advice, like, I've got this person approaching me for this, what should I say? I've been there, so I know exactly what they should be saying, for example. Setting up their website, I'd tell them the right hosting to use, for example, to make sure the website's, responsive. What camera to buy.
Can you give us those now?
What, responsive hosting and stuff?
Yeah,
there's dedicated.
All this sort of advice, because at the end of the day, people who are listening.
I think if you're setting up a website, the main thing is now to conform to your SEO requirements and stuff. SEO in terms of like your Google ranking and to appear on Google. Google will penalize you if you're not mobile ready, if you're not responsive in terms of how quick it is that you can deliver your website to people visiting the website. So you need to use hosting in let's, for example, I didn't know this, and I don't know how true this is, how factual it is, but I was told that you need a server in the UK if you're a UK website. So if I'm a .co.uk, Google will favour me if I've got a server that's based in the UK, for example. If I've got .com, a server that's based in the States, for example, would favour me more than not doing it that way. But I didn't know that, so until I was told. But again, I was told that by the hosting company. So again, if that's a sales technique, I don't know. But yeah, again, I understand starting out, you can't always afford to get a dedicated server, which is what I've got, and it's expensive. I mean, I pay about £80 a month for my hosting, and that's a dedicated server. And all that means is I don't share my server space with anyone. So things like hacking, viruses, speed issues, I don't have to face all that issues, because when I started out, I was on a shared hosting, and guaranteed twice a week my website will be hacked, and I have to be cleaning it up and finding out where they've put funny codes in, and redirecting people to a different website and stuff like that. And obviously, the more exposure your website gets, the more chance you get to more viruses creeping up, because they want to suck in basically your traffic. That's what they're doing. So you get to that, with hosting, it's always good to aim to getting yourself a dedicated hosting. It's expensive, but if you can afford it, like you can, get some sort of ad revenue from your website to pay for it, then do that. It's smoother. Your website will be so quick. It's unbelievable. You can see the difference.
So you got hosting when you could afford it.
Yeah.
And that was via advertising.
Yeah. So initially I was paying for it out of my own pocket until I was able to at least make some money back here and there. It doesn't have to be that I'm making money back every month, but it could be that I make a lump sum somewhere, and that covers hosting for, I don't know, 2-3 months. I don't have to worry about that, and then on and on and like that. I've always been able to cover it somehow, which is good. It's needed.
Okay. We're almost approaching the mark because it's nice and brief. One of the questions I always ask people is success.
Mm.
If you could speak to yourself 10 years back,
Right.
what advice would you say? What would you give?
I'd say don't like be fearless and just not fearless as in jump in front of a car because you want to grab something, but in terms of, there's nothing to be scared about. Just go for it. Like you know what you want, go for it. Don't let people hold you back. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Even if you make the wrong decision or you make a mistake, it didn't work out. You've tried it. You've learned from it. There's not no such thing as bad mistakes. You'd always, as long as you learn from it, from the experience, it's good. Move forward onto the next one, and don't hold on to things just because you've worked hard on it. If it's not working, know when to ditch it and move on to the next thing. Because people fall into the mistake of, oh, I've spent 3 years on that website, and I really like it. People know me for it, but if you're not getting paid for it and it's not making money, maybe it's time to look at something else. Move on.
How do you make money on websites?
You make money from ads, sponsored ads. You could pitch ideas to, depending on what field you're in for. So, for example, I could pitch ideas to like 3 Network or, I don't know, a tech manufacturer and say, I want to do this with your phone. Could you sponsor me? Sponsor comes in different forms. Like they could give you that product. It doesn't have to always necessarily mean they're paying you money. It could be that someone gives you a free product to review. It could be that they send you away on a travel to somewhere that you wouldn't be able to afford, for example. I mean, I've traveled to like Dubai. I would never have gone to Dubai on my own because it's expensive. And that was a free trip. So that's the sort of stuff you get out of doing what you do. So it's not always monetary value, but you do make some money, it's rewarding, basically. Yeah.
It sounds it. So, who springs to mind when I say the word success?
I mine's always a really weird one because it's nothing to do with the field that I'm in. It's just someone that I followed from the beginning, and it's 50 Cent. Like people might follow him for music. I don't. I follow him for. I started off as following him for his music, obviously, but eventually music evolved. So I stopped really following his music. Is more for me now. Is more about his journey, business decisions that he makes. Things that he says. Like I've never watched an interview of this and not learned something. He's always intelligent, business savvy in terms of money smart. He'll lay it out for you so you know where his head's at, and it's so like you don't really get that with many people when when they're being interviewed, and he's not the sort of person to be like, yeah, it was just automatic, like no, you can see the hard work, the graft that is put into every success he's had. So that yeah, when I hear success, I think of him because he's gone from someone who's earning, I don't know, 100 million a year to just tons of different businesses in different areas as well.
So, how can we get you to that stage of success? What is that for you?
For me, it's just motivation and just keep going. I've got my goals in my head. I've got things that I set out that I want to achieve. And that's just me getting there. I think the biggest success for me is not always going to be about money. It's going to be the freedom to travel and have impact in other people's lives. That's the two main things for me: travel and doing things that has positive impact in other people's lives. So if I'm at a stage where I can travel to around the world, helping, I don't know, third world countries, for example, I'll do that. I'll be all over it, kind of thing, and I'll be happy doing that.
All right. So, how can the world find you and get in touch with you?
I'm online as GadgetsBoy, so that's gadget with the S, so GadgetsBoy. If you just type that into Google, that will take you to my Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, website. I made sure that I secured everything, so that's that's always going to be online.
Hey guys, we really appreciate you listening, and if you have any feedback whatsoever, please do leave it in the comment section below. Also, you can get all the information on the guests, the links and resources we speak about in the description below. There's plenty more videos in our archives in our video section, so do check that out. And last but not least, and this is really important, if you are somebody who can teach us how you do what it is you do, because Blacticulate is all about empowering and upskilling the community, then please get in touch because we'd love to feature you too. Guys, you're the best. Hope you have a great day and see you soon.